भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ ज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णकृष्णाय प्रभुपादति प्रिय श्री गिरिराजाय स्वामिने सुभक्तराधारास बिहारिभ्यः भक्तिविशात्मदायिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णकृष्णाय श्रीमते भक्ते वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुर्भगवन्। Hare Krishna. So we are going to read chapter 9 and it's short. Okay, it's a story. So we should complete this today.
Hare Krishna, the supreme character of Jad Bharat. In this chapter, Bharat Maharaj's attainment of the body of Brahmana is described. In this body, he remained like one dull, deaf and dumb, so much so that when he was brought before the goddess Kali to be killed as a sacrifice, he never protested but remained silent. After having given up the body of a deer, he took birth in the womb of a youngest wife of a Brahmana. In this life, he could also remember the activities of his past life. And in order to avoid the influence of society, he remained like a deaf and dumb person. He was very careful not to fall down again He did not mix with anyone who was not a devotee. This process should be adopted by every devotee. As advised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a Satsanga Tyaga, Ei Vaishnava Achar, one should strictly avoid the company of non-devotees, even though they may be family members. When Bharat Maharaj was in the body of a Brahmana, the people in the neighborhood thought of him as a crazy, dull fellow. But within, he was always chanting and remember Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although his father wanted to give him an education and purify him as Brahmana by offering him the sacred thread, he remained in such a way that his father and mother could understand that he was crazy and not interested in the reformatory method. Nonetheless, he remained fully Krishna conscious, even without undergoing such official ceremonies. Due to his silence, some people who were no better than animals began to tease him in many ways, but he tolerated this. After the death of his father and mother, his stepmother and stepbrothers began to treat him very poorly. They would give him the most condemned food, but still he did not mind. He remained completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He was ordered by his stepbrothers and mothers to guard a paddy field one night, and at that time the leader of a dacoit party took him away and tried to kill him by offering him as a sacrifice before Bhadra Kali. When the dacoits brought Bharat Maharaj before the goddess Kali and raised a chopper to kill him, the goddess Kali became immediately alarmed due to the mistreatment of a devotee. She came out of the deity and taking the chopper in her own hands, killed all the dacoits there. Thus, a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can remain silent despite the mistreatment of non-devotees. Rogues and dacoits who misbehave toward a devotee are punished to last by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So this is going to be the story of Jad Bharat. This is a 3 life story, right? From Emperor Bharat to Dear Bharat, right? And then now he's taking birth, but he's behaving as if he's an animal, right? So that nobody recognizes who he is. This is all very mysterious, why he behaved like this, and we will discover as we study. Remember how King Rishabdev also, right? He was Avadut. So he had this method of practicing yoga, right? Python yoga, and it became Python yoga, right? But we have a different method. Prabhupada gave us a different method. And so we are studying all these different methods. And there is some reason for it. Now, there are going to be very long Sanskrit verses. Let's try. Text 1 and 2. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Kasya Chidvijavarasyangira Pravarasya Shamandamatapaha Swadhyaya Dhyayana Tyaga Santosha Titiksha Prashraya Vidyana Shuyatma Dhyanananda Yuktasyatma Sadrisha Shruta Shilachara Rupadarya Gunanava Sodarya Angaja Babhur Mithunam Cha Yaviyasyam Bharyayam Yastu Tatra Pumam Stam Parama Bhagavatam Rajarshi Pravaram Bharatam Utshrista Mriga Shariram Charama Sharinena Vipratvam Gattam Ahu. Shri Shukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, After giving up the body of Vidya, Bharat Maharaj took birth in a very pure Brahman family. So she's elevated. There was a Brahmana who belonged to the dynasty of Angira. He was fully qualified with Brahminical qualifications. He could control his mind and senses, and he had studied the Vedic literatures and other subsidiary literatures. He was expert in giving charity, and he was always satisfied, tolerant, very gentle, learned, and non-envious. He was self-realized and engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He remained always in a trance. He had 9 equally qualified sons by his first wife, and by his second wife he begot twins, a brother and a sister, of which the male child was said to be the topmost devotee and foremost of saintly kings, Bharat Maharaj. This then is the story of the birth he took after giving up the body of Vidya. Maharaj Bharat was a great devotee, but he didn't attain success in one life, all right? He was a great devotee, but didn't attain success in one life. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that a devotee who does not fulfill his devotional duties in one life is given the chance to be born in a fully qualified Brahmana family or a rich Kshatriya or Vaishya family. Suchinam Srimatan Gehe. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 41. Bharat Maharaj was the first-born son of Maharaj Rishabh in a rich Kshatriya family. But due to his willful negligence of his spiritual duties and his excessive attachment to an insignificant deer, he was obliged to take birth as the son of a deer. However, due to his strong position as a devotee, he was gifted with the remembrance of his past life. Being repentant, he remained in a solitary forest and always thought of Krishna. Then he was given the chance to take birth in a very good Brahmana family. So we can see how everything is like awarded, right? So his mind, Bharat Maharaj's mind was focused on the deer. So we can see two principles acting here, right? One is like what we are thinking, and then it's what material nature gives us. You can say it's okay, he was thinking of a deer, but it doesn't mean that he has to become a deer. But the laws of nature, all right? And Prabhupada said it was punishment, right? Because he was a devotee, but he neglected, he willfully neglected his devotional service, so he was punished. So meaning was very deliberate, it was thought out. The laws of nature, very carefully thought out and said he needs to be punished. So he was placed in a deer body, but because he repented so badly and said, how did this happen to me? So after a short time, he was given a plus. So he took birth as son of a Brahmana, in a very good Brahmana family. So we can see, even Gajendra, right? King Gajendra. Some mistake happened, right? And when he fell down, where did he fall down? He fell down in Indralok. He became an elephant in Indralok. He didn't become, a simple street elephant somewhere in a forest. All right. So all those, like I guess in Guruvayur, right? We see all those elephants. They're not ordinary, right? The dog of a king is not an ordinary dog, right? They're very qualified. Jeev, who take birth as the animals, kings, sometimes sadhus. Text 3. Tatrapi swajana sangaccha vrisham udvijamano bhagavata karma bandha vidvamsana shravana smarana guna vivarna charanaravinda yugalam manasa vidadhat atmana pratighatam ashankam mano bhagavat anugrahena nusmrita swapurva janmavalir atmanam unmata jadandha badhira swarupena darshayam ashalokasya. Due to his being especially gifted with the Lord's mercy, Bharat Maharaj could remember the incidents of his past life. So meaning that material nature, though punished him, but gave him a window, all right? Gave him a window so that he could see his previous life. Although he received the body of Brahmana, he was still very much afraid of his relatives and friends who were not devotees. So now he is born a Brahman family, but his surrounding, they were not devotees. He was always very cautious of such association because he feared that he would again fall down. See, he really had a bad fall, right? So he thought, we say, be careful, you're behaving like an animal. You can become an animal in the next life. We don't pay attention to it, right? But he's learned the lesson very heavily. Consequently, he manifested himself before the public eye as a madman, dull, blind, and deaf, so that others would not try to talk to him. In this way, he saved himself from bad association. Within, he was always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and chanting the Lord's glories, which save one from the bondage of fruitive action. In this way, he saved himself from the onslaught of non-devotee associates. So, the reason why Jad Bharat assumed such an attitude, like dull, right? Jar means matter, right? Inanimate, right? Why? Why did he choose such a method?
To save himself.
From what?
From
association with non-devotees. He said that nobody will be interested in me. Right? He wouldn't want to come and talk to me. So he just made himself dumb, dull and blind. It's amazing. Alright, let's read this report.
Purport. Every living entity is bound by different activities due to association with the modes of nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Karanam guna sangosya sat asat yoni janmasu. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with the good and evil among various species. Bhagavad Gita 13.22. We get different types of bodies among 84 lakh species according to our karma. Karmana daiva natrena. We work under the influence of material nature contaminated by the three modes, and thus we get a certain type of body according to superior order. Thus, this is called karma bandha. To get out of this karma bandha, one must engage himself in devotional service. Then one will not be affected by the modes of material nature. mama cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatithyayan brahma bhuyaye kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Bhagavad Gita 14.26. To remain immune from the material qualities, one must engage himself in devotional service. Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnoha. This is the perfection of life. When Maharaj Bharat took birth as a Brahmana, he was not very interested in the duties of a Brahmana, but within he remained a pure Vaishnava, always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. As devised in Bhagavad Gita, Man Mana Bhav Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. This is the only process by which one can be saved from the danger of repeated birth and death.
Right, so now how Bharat Maharaj, he wants to save himself. So Prabhupada is explaining how we acquire our bodies. So how do we acquire our bodies? How do we acquire whatever body we have? Whatever body we have, how do we acquire it? Yes, but based on what?
Based on karma. Body, and in the state of mind, when you leave your present body, that's the same body you get in your next life.
Okay, so here Prabhupada explains. So let's read it again. Okay? Every living entity is bound by different activities due to what?
Association with the modes of nature.
Alright, so how do we get our body?
Based on the modes that we associate.
Yeah, depend on our association. So our association will make us desire a certain type of body. Then second will come superior order. So first it is we ourselves, right? So this is karanam gunasangosya sadasut yoni janmashu. Karanam. This is due to his association with that material nature. So we walk around in life and a certain type of association attracts us, right? And we decide, yes, this is where I want to be. So when I'm in that company, I become like that company, right? And then, so I will do all the activities that happen in that sangha. And therefore, material nature accordingly will give me the body. So we get different types of bodies among 8,400,000 species according to our karma. So, karmana deva nitrena. We work under the influence of material nature contaminated by the three moods. So, karmana. Alright? So, our activities is contaminated by the three gunas. Rajogun, Tamogun, Sattvagun. Alright? Then, Devi Netrena. Netrena means?
The divine eyes which are watching.
The eyes. The eyes of the Deva. So we told you before, Prabhupada said that the stars, Krishna has a camera, right? Right? The nakshatras. They're clicking our picture moment by moment. Right? How we are behaving, what we are doing. So, nitrena, eyes, deva nitrena. And thus we get a certain type of body according to superior order. This is called karma bandhan. So we got stuck in it. So it's good that from today we start watching how we behave, right? How we act, what we think, what we speak. Because remember that each word that we utter, every thought that we have, every act that we do, it is recorded and it's the shape of our next body. Right? So, to be conscious living, right? Conscious living. To get out of this karma bandhan, one must engage himself in devotional service. Why engage in devotional service? What is devotional service? So, to get out of this karma bandhan, one must engage himself in devotional service. What is this devotional service?
Transcend the mode of nature.
No, what is this devotional service?
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Madana.
So what are all these?
Engaging all our
Yeah, I'm asking, what is this? You have given a list. So it should become real, Now we are saying that conscious living, right? Be conscious of what we speak, of what we do, what we think, right? Karmana manasa gira, right? Conscious living. Now we are saying to counteract any wrong activities that we may do using these three, we should engage in devotional service. So yes, you have given me a list, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, but how does it affect my thinking, my speech, and my behavior?
This will help us to purify ourselves, and as we get purified, our act will get more, we will have more conscious act or more thoughtful act, and that will once again work on our karma, because then our bondages will get reduced automatically, because now we are doing conscious way of conscious way of working, which is like conscious way of speaking, interacting with people. We are and that is more Krishna centered. When we are more Krishna centered, thoughts are more Krishna centered, humility comes in, action becomes more grounded, and similarly the karmas get reduced, the bondages get reduced, and over a period of time, like a circle, gradually we come out of the bondage or the karma bondage. And somewhere the clicking of those cameras, those people also see that, well, this is a conscious effort the person is making, so there is some daily help also. So the both helps us overcome the repeated cycle of birth.
Yes, okay, yeah, alright, so now let's examine what Prabhupada is discussing in this purport.
What Vishnu means?
Vishnu. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, we should chant the name of Vishnu, we should hear the name of Vishnu. So here Prabhupada is explaining, to get out of this karma bandha, one must engage himself in devotional service. Then one will not be affected by the moods of material nature. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who doesn't fall down in any circumstances. You already found what happened with Bharat Maharaj. He was already engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam and so on, but he became negligent and he stopped all his Shravanam, Kirtanam, right? And Smaranam. He gradually gave up everything. So, who does not fall down in any circumstance at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. 14.26 from Bhagavad Gita. to remain immune now. See, this is the point. This is the point here. So we are infected by the three gunas. So see, the heart is already infected by these three gunas. That's how we take birth in this material world. It starts from there. The soul is already contaminated by this enjoying spirit, Rajogun, Tamogun and Sattvagun. So the soul that is contaminated, when he sees the elements of Rajogun, Tamogun and Sattvagun in different degrees, that soul migrate there. Right? Just migrate. Gets attracted. Now Prabhupada is saying, to remain immune from the material qualities, just like somebody who got addicted to drinking, right? He cannot resist. Wherever there is the company of drunkards, he cannot resist, right? And here Prabhupada is explaining how to become immune, right? So basically it's a habit, right? It's a habit. So how to develop new habit? We are already habituated to hearing, to speaking, to remembering, to do something. We are already habituated. But we are doing it according to the three gunas. Now Prabhupada is saying, change the object of your talk, of your hearing and of your remembering. Change the object. To remain immune from the material qualities, one must engage himself in devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuhu. That is the perfection of life. When Maharaj Bharat took birth as a Brahmana, he was not very interested in the duties of a Brahmana, but within he remained a pure Vaishnava, always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. This is the only process by which one can be saved from the danger of repeated birth and death. So this chapter is going to describe how Bharat Maharaj, his mind, he wasn't speaking, right? Dumb, blind, deaf, right? So, but inside, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, Madhya Jimam Namaskuru, inside his mind, he was only absorbed in Vishnu Smaranam. Text 4. Tasya pihava atmajasya vipra putra sneha nubaddhamana Puna socha chamanadim karma niyamam anabhipretam api samakshikshayad anushishtena hi bhavyam pitu putreneti. The Brahmana father's mind was always filled with affection for his son, Jad Bharat, Bharat Maharaj. Therefore, he was always attached to Jad Bharat. Because Jad Bharat was unfit to enter the Grihastha ashram, he simply executed the purificatory process up to the end of the Brahmacharya ashram. So he said he's unfit to enter Grihastha ashram, and that was the whole idea, right? So he behaved in such a way that nobody will accept him as a son-in-law or as a husband. So, good, first thing taken care of, Brahmacharya ashram. Although Jad Bharat was unwilling to accept his father's instructions, the Brahmana nonetheless instructed him in how to keep clean and how to wash, thinking the son should be taught by the father. Purport. Jad Bharat was Bharat Maharaj in the body of a Brahmana, and he outwardly conducted himself as if he were dull, deaf, dumb and blind. Actually, he was quite alert within. Alright? Actually, that's how devotees, they keep away from material association, right? People provoke them to speak, but they behave like dumb. So people think, oh, must be dumb. But inside they are alert. Soul has to be alert. He knew perfectly well of the results of fruitive activity and the results of devotional service. So what are the results of fruitive activity and what are the results of devotional service? His father was a Brahmana in fruitive activity, so he was not at all interested in all this. In the body of a Brahmana, Maharaj Bharat was completely absorbed in devotional service within. Therefore, it was not at all necessary for him to execute the regulative principles of fruitive activity. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Swanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 13. One has to satisfy Hari, the Supreme Person Godhead. That is the perfection of the regulative principles of fruitive activity, meaning all the rules and regulations that we follow in Karmakand, the perfection of it, meaning that the result, if we are doing it properly, the result, it should lead me to bhakti, and if it doesn't, then it is useless. Dharma swanishtitha pumsa vishvakshena katha suyaha nat padayat yadi ratim shrama evahi kevalam. And that's what's happening everywhere, right? People are doing this puja, this dan, that dan, this vrat, that vrat, right? But we don't develop love for Vishnu. Therefore, shrama evahi kevalam. Useless. These karmakand activities are required as long as one has not developed Krishna consciousness, meaning that yes, we must do them. We should not engage in sinful activities. So that's why, like, those in Krishna consciousness are not always understood by others. If one is developed in Krishna consciousness, there is no need to execute the prior regulative principles of Karmakand. Srila Madhavendra Puri said, "O regulative principles of Karmakand, please excuse me. I cannot follow all these regulative principles, for I am fully engaged in devotional service." So Madhavendra Puri, Srila Madhavendra Puri, he says, "Oh, my Karmakand activities, goodbye." Why? Since I have come to know about Mukunda. Alright? Since I came to know about Mukunda, I'm not interested in anything else. He's not saying goodbye so that I can engage in sinful activities, right? He's saying goodbye, I've got something better now. So this is the difference between a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. A Brahmana, he is doing all the rituals of Karma Kanda so that he can have a better standard of life in this world. A Vaishnava is worshipping Vishnu in order to please Vishnu. O regulative principles of Karmakand, please excuse me, I cannot follow all these regulative principles, for I am fully engaged in devotional service. He expressed the desire to sit somewhere beneath a tree and continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Consequently, he did not execute all the regulative principles. Similarly, Haridas Thakur was born in a Mohammedan family. From the very beginning of his life, he was never trained in the Karmakand system. But because he was always chanting the holy name of the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as Namacharya. the authority in chanting the holy name. So here we find that it doesn't matter from where, what is just your where you're born, right? This is a question of what you're ready to take. So he was ready to chant, so therefore he became Namacharya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as Namacharya, the authority in chanting the holy name. As Jar Bharat Maharaj was always engaged in devotional service within his mind. Since he had executed regular principles continuously for 3 lives, he was not interested in continuing to execute them, although his Brahmana father wanted him to do so. He said, I have already done all this. I'm not interested. I guess that's what devotees are, right? They've already done all this. Text 5. Sachapi taduha pitri sanidhaveva sadrishitnam eva smakaroti chandam syadhyapashishyan saha vyahiriti bhi sapranava shirastripadim savitrim grishma vasantikam masan adhiyanam apyasa maveta rupam grahayam asha. Yes, Devahuti, you can read.
Translation. Jad Bharat behaved before his father like a fool. Despite his father's adequately instructing him in Vedic knowledge, he behaved in that way so that his father would know that he was unfit for instructions and would abandon the attempt to instruct him further. He would behave in a completely opposite way. Although instructed to wash his hands after evacuating, he would wash them before. Nonetheless, his father wanted to give him Vedic instruction during the spring and summer. He tried to teach him the Gayatri Mantra along with Omkara and Vyaharitti. But after 4 months, his father still was not successful in instructing him. service to the Christian master and the method of offering the fire sacrifice. He tried his best to teach his son in this way, but all his endeavors were futile. In his heart he hoped that his son would be a learned scholar, but all his attempts were unsuccessful. Like everyone, this Brahman was attached to his home
and he had forgotten that someday he would die. Death, however, was not forgetful. At the proper time, death appeared and took him away. Those who attach to family life who forgot that death comes in the future to take them away become attached and unable to finish their duty as human beings. The duty of the human life is to solve the problems of life. But instead, people remain attached to the family affairs and duties. Although they forget death, death will not forget them. Suddenly, they will be kicked off the platform of a peaceful family life. One may forget that he has to die, but death never forgets. Death comes always at the right time. The Brahman father of Ajat Bharat wanted to teach his son the process of brahmacharya, but he was unsuccessful due to his son's unwillingness to undergo the process of Vedic advancement. Ajat Bharat was simply concerned with returning home back to Godhead by executing devotional service through Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. He did not care for the Vedic instruction of his father. When one is fully interested in the service of the Lord, he does not need to follow all the regulative principles enunciated in the Vedas. Of course, for an ordinary man, the Vedic principles are imperative. No one can avoid them. But when one has attained the perfection of devotional service, it is not very important to follow the Vedic principles. Lord Krishna advised Arjuna to ascend to the platform of Nishtrayaguna, the transcendental position above the Vedic principles. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nishtragunya Bhava Arjuna, Nirdvandano, Nitya Sattva Spasho, Astho, Niryoga Shena Atman. The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna, be transcendental to all of them. Be free from dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Bhagavad Gita 2.45.
Text 7. Atha yadi yasye dvija sati swagarbha jatam mithunam sapatnya upanayasya swayam anusamsthaya patilokam agat. Thereafter the Brahmana's younger wife, after entrusting her twin children, the boy and girl, to the elder wife, departed for Patilok, voluntarily dying with her husband. Text 8. Pitaryo parate bhratara nenamatat prabhava vidastrayam vidyayam eva paryavasita matayo na para vidyayam jaramatiriti bhraturanusasana nirbandham nyavrisanta. After the father died, the 9 stepbrothers and Jarbharat, who considered Jarbharat dull and brainless, abandoned the father's attempt to give Jarbharat a complete education. The stepbrothers of Jarbharat were learned in the 3 Vedas, the Rig Veda, Samaveda and Yajurveda, which very much encouraged fruitive activity. The 9 brothers were not at all spiritually enlightened in devotional service to the Lord. Consequently, they could not understand the highly exalted position of Jarbharat. See, they are Brahmanas. Still, right? Still, they couldn't behave properly with their other brother. See? It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. They were 3 Vedis. But they couldn't behave properly with their other brother because he seemed dull and dumb. See, the modes of material nature is so harsh, meaning Brahmana means goodness. Why we say it's not perfect? Because there's already a contamination of Rajogun and Tamogun in it. That's why we say this mode of goodness is not the perfection. There has to be Shuddha Sattva. Text 9 and 10. Vishuddhanu bhavananda Swatma labhadhigama. Oh, okay, 9. Sacha prakrite dvipada pashubhir unmata jara badhira muketi abhibhasyamano yada tad anurupani prabhasate karmani cha karyamana parechaya karoti vishtito vetanato vayachnaya yadrichaya Vaposaditam alpam bahumristam kadanam vabhyavaharati param nandriha priti nimitam nitya nivritta nimitta swasiddha vishuddhanubhavananda swatma labhadhigamana sukha dukhayor Dvanda nimittayor asambhavita deha bhimana shitoshna vata varsheshu vriksha vrivavna vritanga pina samhananga sthati mardana marjana rajasa mahamanir ivana bhivyakta Brahma varchasa kupata vrita katir upavitte noru manasi dvijatiriti Brahma bandhuriti samyayataj vyajana vartmato vichara. Now what is he doing? Degraded men are actually no better than animals. The only difference is that animals have 4 legs and such men who have only 2. Those 2-legged animalistic men used to call Jad Bharat mad, dull, deaf and dumb. They mistreated him and Jar Bharat behaved for them like a madman who was deaf, blind or dull. He didn't protest or try to convince them that he was nuts. If others wanted him to do something, he acted according to their desires. Whatever food he could acquire by begging or by wages, and whatever came of its own accord, be it a small quantity, palatable, stale or tasteless, he would accept and eat. He never ate anything for sense gratification, because he was already liberated from the bodily conception, which induces one to accept palatable or unpalatable food. He was full in the transcendental consciousness of devotional service, and therefore he was unaffected by the dualities arising from the bodily conception. Actually, his body was as strong as a bull's, and his limbs were very muscular. He didn't care for winter or summer, wind or rain, and he never covered his body at any time. He lay on the ground and never smeared oil on his body or took a bath. Because his body was dirty, his spiritual effulgence and knowledge were covered, just as the splendor of a valuable gem is covered by dirt. He only wore a dirty loincloth and his sacred thread, which was blackish. Understanding that he was born in a Brahmana family, people will call him a Brahma Bandhu and other names, being thus insulted and neglected by materialistic people. He wandered here and there. Purport. Shri Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Deha smriti nahi yara, samsara bandhana kahantara. One who has no desire to maintain the body, or one who is not anxious to keep the body in order, and who is satisfied in any condition, must be either mad or liberated. Only a mad person won't take care of the body, right? And who else will not take care of the body? Who is liberated. Atma Ramas Chamanayor Nirgaranta Urukrama. So it says the Atma Ram, they look uneducated. But actually they are Atma Ram. They don't attach importance to the body. And because the soul is so powerful, it automatically maintains the body. Actually, Bharat Maharaj in his birth as Jar Bharat was completely liberated from material dualities. He was a Paramahams and therefore didn't care for bodily comfort. Text 11. Yada to... Sorry?
Does this explain why sages on Himalayas are there for so many hundreds of years?
Yeah, yes.
And because it's there on the Himalayas,
Yes.
minus 10, 20
Yes.
they're just even lying flat.
Yeah.
And they're sitting.
Yes. Yes.
Their soul is very powerful.
Yes. Yes. But they are still in body.
Yeah, they're still in body.
For whatever reason. Text 11. Yada tu parata aharam karma vetanata ihamana swa bhratribhirapi kedara karmani nirupitastadapi karoti kintu na samam vishamam Nyunam adhikam iti vedakana pinyaka halikaranam kulmasa sthali purashadinyapi amritavat abhyavaharati. Jar Bharat used to work only for food. His stepbrothers took advantage of this and engaged him in agricultural field work in exchange for some food. But actually, he didn't know how to work very well in the field. All right. He's Raja, right? He didn't know where to spread dirt and where to make the ground level or uneven. His brothers used to give him broken rice, oil cakes, the chaff of rice, worm-eaten grains, and burned grains that had stuck to the pot. But he gladly accepted all this as if it were nectar. He didn't hold any grudges and ate all this very gladly. So we can see that the laws of nature gave him a very good birth, right? Just as the laws of nature gave him body of a deer. Now the laws of nature gave him a very, very good body, where he could have been the most respected in the entire family and community. But he chose something different. Right? Running after name and fame and position, right? Usually, when among our devotees, we do this, right? That's why Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, right? Followers. So big.
Learning, Mataji, from Bharat to Deer to Jada Bharat. So what is our learning from this? How one falls from such high pedestal to dear body, and then again how from dear body one can raise up to Jada Bharat.
It's not that he didn't himself raise himself. He was awarded. Right? He was awarded. So because even though he was in deer body, he repented. He didn't behave as a deer, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, right? He didn't do this, even in a deer body. So he showed to the higher, superior order that actually he is more interested in self-realization, in worship of the Lord, than in this basic animalistic work. So therefore, they say, okay, now your term of punishment is over. Now you can take the next birth. So they gave him a very high birth as a Brahmana in Angira Muni dynasty. Angira Muni means very learned, right? Angira Muni is very learned. So he took birth in such a family. But again, using his free will, he didn't want to appear as a great personality and again get distracted, right? Because see, he's given a high birth, just like he willfully neglected his devotional service. Now, knowingly, willingly, he's giving up all types of position, material position in society, because he would have surpassed all his brothers, because he was the great saintly King Bharat. He would have surpassed his father also, but he didn't want to exhibit his qualification.
So what is the takeaway? How should I learn from this?
Yeah, so anyway, we're going to discover gradually, but it's showing that what is the priority. This is his method, because he already knows that this mood of Ishvara caused my fall down. I don't want to again, so I can be a king, a Maharaja, and govern others. That same anartha of being a small Ishvara, this is the cause my fall down. If as a Brahmana now again I become an Ishvara among Brahmanas, right? Then again there's going to be followers, there's going to be dakshina, there's going to be so many things, right? So he didn't want all this. Meaning, how important to him is devotional service. How important it is to him. Remember Virakti, Bharat Maharaj was in the stage of Virakti. He gave up his empire for Krishna. Right? Now, he is not an emperor, but he is higher than an emperor. Because emperors, they bow down in front of Brahmanas. Isn't it? He's higher than emperor. But he didn't want. So this is also shown in like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Gaur Kishore Das, they say he didn't even know how to write his name. He was illiterate. But he was Paramahams. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta is Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, his father was Bhakti Vinod Thakur, highly learned. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta was a super scholar, super scholar. And his father told him, go and take Diksha from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, he was so qualified that many gurus wanted to have him as their disciple. But Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, you take Diksha from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Right? And you should read his life, how he behaved. Same. He will be chanting. Where did he? Because people will come to him, say, oh, he's such a great saintly person. What do? They will ask, give me this benediction, give me that benediction. So what he did, he went and sat in the toilet and he'll chant. So nobody will come there. These are the type of thing he would do. So, yeah, there is more to there's more to spiritual life than just so many external things. There's much more, and this is what Bharat Maharaj is teaching us. Do not be attracted by everything that glitters, right? What is glittering is what attracts us. And who doesn't glitter, we discard. Isn't it? You don't pay attention to them. So nobody is paying attention to Jat Bharat because he's not glittering, but he's inside. Alright? So you can see two things. One is how ordinary people, they are attracted by that which glitters. And then we find the person himself. See, at the end of the day, whoever you may be the biggest of all leaders, whatever. At the end of the day, you want your own salvation, right? Isn't it? Yeah. Right. So you see, so that's what's happening with Jat Bharat. He said he has done sufficiently for the entire world as Maharaj Bharat. Then he retired and he was doing for a one deer and he got caught. So he says, no more, no more being well-wisher of anyone. Right? So now he's looking, he's thinking that I need to advance. And not just be in the external, because I don't know how I can get caught. I am King Bharat. It is an anartha to occupy that position, emperor, great Maharaja, right? It is an anartha. So he says, let me give it up. Let the world not, I don't need all this. So he's more focused in his own self now. Right? Anyway, we'll study. Prabhupada will tell us gradually what's there. Okay, so we stop here. Did we? Oh, we didn't read the translation, did we?
No, we read the translation.
We read the translation, but the purport. Okay. Purport. The platform of Paramahamsas described in Bhagavad Gita 2.15. Sama dukha sukham dhiram so vrita vaya kalpate. When one is callous to all duality, the happiness and distress of this material world, one is fit for amritatva, eternal life. Meaning when one doesn't care anymore about the happiness, meaning the small glittering happiness that comes to us, or the dukh. Somebody didn't speak well to me, right? Didn't treat me properly. This is what's happening here. They didn't give him proper food. They didn't respect him. Bharat Maharaj was determined to finish. Here you are. Bharat Maharaj was determined to finish his business in this material world. And he didn't at all care for the world of dualities. He was complete in Krishna consciousness and oblivious to good and evil, happiness and distress, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila 4.176. Dvaite bhadra bhadra jnana sabha mano dharma e bhala e manda sabha brahma. In the material world, conceptions of good and bad are all mental speculations. Therefore, saying this is good and this is bad is all a mistake. One has to understand that in the material world of duality, to think that this is good or that this is bad is simply a mental concoction. However, one should not imitate this consciousness. One should actually be situated on the spiritual platform of neutrality. So, Jat Bharat, he was the great King Maharaj Bharat in his previous life. He's had enough of profit, distinction and adoration. Right? He's done with all this. He doesn't care anymore for anybody to praise him or to blame him. He's done with all this. So he says, now focus on his own soul. Prabhupada is saying Maharaj Bharat was determined to finish his business in this material world. Done. Over. And what's the big deal, whether somebody deals with me properly or not? See, actually, when we can observe this, when somebody has a certain position, you will actually never know who thinks what about you. Is it true? Inside, everybody is your competitor. But externally, they'll behave, right? As if you're a great personality. Isn't it? You will know only when you will take birth.
That's a dear.
Not dear.
But
When you are positioned, like Raja, you can never know. But when you become Praja,
then you know that what
then
was
then you
going
know.
on against the
I heard the story of Gandhiji, right? Maybe you know this story. So he was in a train. You know the story? He was in the train. So he was like sitting in a train, and there was some man there. So they were all speaking about Gandhiji. They want to go and meet Gandhiji. Everybody was in that train only to go and meet him because they've heard how great he was. And they didn't know that this person, all right, they didn't know that he was the great Mahatma Gandhi who they were going to meet, right? So how did they deal with him? Right? I forgot the story. But in a very insignificant way, right? Little insulting also. They didn't know he was the great Mahatma Gandhi. That's the reality of life. Right? Just like Krishna also, we don't know how to deal with him. We don't appreciate him, right? Yeah. That's why Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has to describe, my Aishwarya Roop, my Virat Roop. Otherwise you take him for nobody. Yeah, there are many many angles to this, but main point is that finish of the business. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how others deal with us, right? It is inside, let me be done with it. All right. We'll discover more. Prabhupada will explain. All right. Hare Krishna. Anjakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.